Hi everybody, welcome to Go Big Bore or Go Home, where recoilers required. Why? Because we're the house of the rising gun. This week I wanted to review something that I had been wanting to get for a while, and that is a 1911 in 10mm. This is specifically the Rock Island Armory TAC Ultra FS, which stands for full size. It comes in 10mm. We're going to go through some of the features. It is a single stack. So let's go ahead and take a close look. I'm also going to go over some of the reliability and accuracy results that I've gotten with this pistol. Okay, so as stated, this is the Rock Island Armory TAC Ultra FS, which stands for full size. This is a 10mm 1911. I've always wanted to get a 1911 in 10mm. I personally like the ergonomics of the 10mm and the fact that most of them, if not all in 10mm, are all steel. Just seems to me more comfortable to have a little extra weight with the 10mm. I don't consider the recoil bad, but it definitely has more recoil than, say, a 45 ACP. Now, this, obviously, by being called the TAC Ultra, was designed to be more of a self-defense or tactical 1911. So let me run through some of the features that it has that I think really help it do that. Starting at the bottom, it's got a mag well. So just pulling that up again here, you can see it's got that nice mag well, which really helps for positive engagement if you have to do a quick reload. It's got these wonderful G10 style grips that are very aggressive, really helps get a good grip, especially if your hands are damp from being outdoors, if you're camping, or if your palms are sweaty. Also has 25 line per inch stippling on a steel mainspring housing. Took me a second. A lot of the lesser end of these from Rock Island Armory will have plastic. I prefer steel. Does it matter? I don't know, you be the judge, but it's just what I prefer. But I just like that you get the steel. It's got some lines up here for the grip. I'd like them to be more aggressive, but it is what it is. Still nice to have. Moving up, it has ambidextrous safeties. So you can see right there, flipping it from the other side, flip it around for you to see. There it is. Something I prefer to have if I'm using a 1911 for self-defense, just helps. It also has this full extended dust cover with a Picatinny rail. Now I like this because of course you can put a light on here, you can put a laser on here, whatever you like. I do like having a light for a defensive firearm. You always want to know what you're pointing your gun at. That's just obviously very important for safety. Plus the extra weight here really helps with muzzle flip. Makes it more comfortable to shoot. Ashley, my wife, does not like shooting my Glock 20. She shoots this just fine and has no objections. She thinks it's perfectly comfortable for a 1911. She's not a 1911 fan. It also has these really nice front cocking serrations. I personally like this because for me, I like doing my press checks that way. Want to see? Is it in there? No, it's empty. Okay. I also like that these are more aggressive in how wide they are. To me, this really gets a great grip on your thumbs. I'm going to pull over a different 1911. This is my Springfield Range Officer. As you can see, it has these much finer cocking serrations, and they work just fine. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. But I do like these wider ones. Really gives you that nice firm grip. So when you're shooting the gun or you're cocking the gun, you've got a great purchase on it. A couple other things that are kind of nice about this. It does have adjustable sights, both for windage and elevation. It also has a fiber optic front sight, which is really wonderful to catch in the light. Really helps. Some of the other features as far as nice 1911 features, it has the lowered and flared ejection port, which is pretty common these days, but it helps with any type of issue with failure to eject. It has a skeletonized hammer. It has the nice extended beaver tail to avoid hammer bite. It has an adjustable trigger that is also skeletonized. It is a bull barrel, so there's no bushing on this. One objection I have to that, but we'll get to that when we go to field strip it. It has a full-length guide rod right here. 20-pound spring. I actually did look into that. And then if you look in here, I'm going to drop the magazine a little. If you look carefully, you can see right there. It's got that extended ejector to, again, help with reliably ejecting cases. So I particularly think that's a nice feature to have. So let's talk a little bit about shooting it and some experiences I've had, and if you're interested in one, what you can expect. So First thing is the trigger on this, while it broke cleanly, was intensely heavy in my opinion. It really, I wasn't sure what it was until I measured it at about 5¼ pounds. Brought it to my gunsmith, who didn't believe me. He got out his weights and did it old school, and sure enough, over 5 pounds, the trigger would not break. So I had a trigger job done on it. It's now between, like, say 3.5 and 4, which is what they consider a good carry trigger. I agree. It's not too light. This isn't a target pistol. I didn't buy it for that. I bought this with the intention, really for the channel, of course, but with the intention of giving the viewers an idea of a defense pistol. So that's what I would want it at. I don't want it any lighter. One of the other things about it that I thought was a little frustrating was it's a little sensitive to my reloads, but I can't blame the gun for that because I can't say that that's the gun's fault. But there was a couple of times, and I'll show some clips here, where I literally had this thing fail to come back into battery all the way, like on almost every round in a magazine. But again, that's on reloaded ammunition. When I switched to factory, it ate everything I could throw at it. No problems. Very few problems at all. I think in about 300 rounds, I may have had 2 or 3 that were a bit of a failure to feed. They didn't go in all the way. I didn't get an exact count. I do apologize about that, but very reliable with factory ammunition, hollow points, or with full metal jacket. No problems at all until I got to my reloads. Annoying for me, but I'm going to be very fair. Those same reloads also gave my Glock a little bit of trouble, so I think I'm the problem, not the gun. But one thing that did happen, we'll show you what happened and exactly what was going on. But when I first got the gun, putting in the magazine was actually very difficult. Now, as you can see, any pistol, really, when you put in the magazine, it should be pretty easy to just get in and click. See, you get that nice, clean engagement, just like this. Let me grab the Springfield, and you'll see the same thing. Just putting in the magazine and just very simple click. It's the way it should be. So when I first got it, it did not want to go in when the action was closed. You really had to smack it hard. And I didn't know why that was, but I just assumed maybe it needed a little wear in. Well, after a while, I started shooting, and that kept happening. I thought I was pushing the buttons, so I started, literally holding the firearm like this with my thumbs away from it, and it kept happening. So I took the gun home, and I'll show some pictures here of the actual damage, but the slide was out of spec, and it was actually pushed down. So it was rubbing against the magazine, which was causing malfunctions, and it was causing the magazine to get spit out. It also wasn't just this one magazine. I had purchased 3 other stock magazines. All of them had the same problem. Sent in an email. They got back to me the next day with a RMA, so I sent it off. They were at a little bit of lull. They said 4 to 6 weeks is their usual turnaround. In fairness, that's pretty normal. So if anybody's ever had to deal with this stuff, if they take 4 to 6 weeks, that's pretty normal. If they get it back faster than that, that's pretty awesome. I got this back in about 3 weeks, and I'll show when I field strip it what they did to solve the problem. They not only took it very seriously, they replaced all 4 of my magazines. That's how cool they were about it. And I haven't had a single problem since. They really solved the problem, real issues. So just in case, if you guys buy one of these and you have an issue, rest assured, Rock Island Armory stands behind their product. They stood behind this one, and I couldn't be happier with how they handled it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show a couple of things about the gun that I didn't like. One of them is how you field strip it. Now, this is just kind of a result of getting this rail, so I don't blame the company. This is not like, oh, Rock Island Armory made a mistake. This is just, if this is what you want, this is what you're gonna get. When you go to field strip the firearm, normally when you do this with a 1911, what you would do is, you'll cock this back, you pull this back, and then you'll actually get the bushing to come off, and then move this back to pull this out. To pull out your slide lever. Well, it's a little different when you do that here on a bull barrel, because the bull barrels don't work quite that easy. The way you have to do is there is a little hole in your guide rod right about here that you have to stick a tool in. Normally you would stick it on the underside because this dust cover wouldn't be here. But since this dust cover is here, you actually have to take this whole assembly off and then do it afterwards, which is a real pain. So just to kind of show you what you have to do, I'm going to try and turn this around. Forgive me, guys. This is a little tough to do, but you want to, well, first of all, you got to drop the mag, of course. Now, you have to try and line up this little half moon right there. See, get it started. And then you have to try and wiggle it out. I'm gonna have to turn it around so it's easier for me to wiggle it out while the firearm, I'm gonna try and do it this way. Sorry, guys. There we go. While the firearm is still got the spring tension. And then you slide it off. Hang on. There we are. Just gonna put, here, let's do this. I just cleaned it so it's got lots of fresh oil on it. But so that's how it comes off. And then you have to push this forward so that the little hole, as you can see there, is exposed. You put a little tool in there and then you pull out the guide rod and spring assembly, which I'm not gonna do now just because it'd take too long. I don't wanna bore you guys, but if you look, there's a little channel that's been drilled. You can see that channel. That's how they solved the problem. I have no objections to this because they cold blued it afterwards. The firearm has worked just fine, no complaints, but that was their way of solving it. So that was how they solved that problem. Now again, when you're trying to put the gun back together here, you're gonna see there's a little bit of a struggle because again, you gotta put it back under tension. I might have to do it off screen. All right, so I'm back. As you can see, I got it back in. And that's pretty cool. So it's a little bit more of a pain than your standard 1911 two-field strip. That's been one of my issues. Now, how about the accuracy on this bad boy? How's it done? I'm proud to say that this thing has been really accurate. Now, in a combination of using my hand loads and using some Cellier and Balat, which my hand loads were doing 1390, actually. I remember that on these. They were really cooking. They were too hot. But yeah, they were 1390, 180 grain, jacketed flat points. And then I also used Cellier and Balat, I'm sorry, full metal jackets. Those are doing about 1165. I did 6 different targets. I'll show those here. And they ranged anywhere from, I think, just under 2 inches to about 4 to 4.5 inches. When all together told, the average accuracy was about 3 inches at 11 yards standing. So this wasn't on a ransom rest, that was standing. It was, I was pretty happy with that. Now, if you take out those 2 where I obviously was having a bad day and I don't blame the gun, it actually did about 2 1/8. So not bad at all. I'm really impressed with this. I would definitely feel that this is accurate enough for me to do pretty much anything. So very happy. The final caveat that I would say, and this is, again, this is a nitpick, is that the magwell here, I'm gonna pull it out. As you can see, the magwell here is not fully flush. Why is that? This is one of the Wilson Combat style where there's a cutout here in the grip and there's hooks that come on. Now that's cool if you don't want the magwell and you want to change grips, or you just don't want the magwell, you can just pull it off. For me, the only thing I don't like about it is it's just not as wide. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Is it cheap? Well, it's cheaper. Is it bad? Is it going to cause you problems? No. Again, this is just one guy saying, well, I wish it was like that. So what's our conclusion on the Rock Island Armory TAC Ultra FS and 10mm auto? Well, the hits. You've got pretty much every feature you could want in a defensive or tactical 1911 right from the factory. This full-length dust cover helps with the 10mm muzzle rise. Seriously, very helpful. And the price point. You gotta love the fact that this is under $1,000. Considering everything that you get, that's quite a deal. The misses. That trigger, come on guys, over 5 pounds from the factory. I think Rock Island Armory can do better than that. It's fixable, but it's something you should know. The overall weight, when you're carrying this much steel and you only get 8+1 rounds, that's a bitter pill to swallow in my book. And for the truly tactical among us, no red dot. There's no milling for you to put on an optic, which is becoming an increasingly popular thing these days. The final shot, if you want a tactical or defensive 1911 for under $1,000, you're just not gonna find a better gun, period. Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. If you made it this far and you didn't enjoy the video, thank you so much for sticking it out. If you did enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and give us some ideas of what you'd like to see us review if we can. Please keep in mind we are on a budget and currently we don't have any sponsors. So you know, we just can't, we can't buy everything, but we'd love to review some more stuff for you. Thanks for watching, and as always, go big bore or go home.